In this video, we're going to build portfolio website in Laravel 9. We will start from scratch. We will install Laravel. We're going to build the project. We're going to deploy the project. We're going to attach it to a custom domain. And finally, we're going to generate SSL certificate for our website. Hello everybody, my name is Zura and I'm the Codeholic. On this channel, I share my 10 years of experience in web development. I create coding tutorials and challenges, and from time to time, I create content about tips, tricks, and advices. If that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing. Alright, let's immediately have a look at the demo. When you open the website, you immediately see an overview about me. Who am I? What I generally do? My YouTube link to my YouTube channel and link to my projects and a picture of me. So we have this navigation. Let's scroll down below. I have right here social media, my social media icons. And down below, I have a featured section. That's a call to action section. And I promote my PHP developer roadmap, which you can find on GitHub or watch on YouTube. So if you want to become a PHP developer, just check out the following section. Down below, I have more information about me, like 3 of my pictures. Probably I should leave only 1 or 2. I don't know, but that's a template taken, and I'm going to show you from where I actually took that template. Down below, we have this view my channel link, and now we have portfolio section or my project section. So we have a couple of tag and tabs right here. Those are filtering my projects. I added right now totally 6 projects, and all of them are linked to my GitHub. So you can change, of course, to yours. Down below we have video tutorials, and you can click any of the videos and immediately open and watch them, or click just view all tutorials, which will be again linked to my YouTube. And down below we have a contact form section, which is fully implemented, and we can fill up some information. John Smith with test 2022. I'm going to hit send message. That actually should be email, john@example.com, and I'm going to hit send message. We get the success notification, and let's check Gmail. And here is email received 0 minutes ago, john@example.com, test 2022. The website is fully responsive, so if we just switch to any screen size, we can see, let's start from the very top. Okay, scroll down below. Let's actually zoom this on a full screen. So this is the call to action section, about me, my projects. You can filter them, of course, video tutorials, and videos, of course, are also playable on a mobile screen. And down below, we have this contact section. And in the footer, we have, again, follow me on social media. And all of them are basically linked at the moment to my social media, but you can link them to yours, of course. All right, that's it. And let's build this nice portfolio website. And one small thing, let's check the navigation on mobile. This is how it looks like. And we have right here the YouTube, my YouTube button. So this is just to subscribe easily on my YouTube, or just see how many subscribers I have. You probably, if you don't have YouTube channel, you probably won't need that button. And last but not the least feature of the website is that it supports white mode as well. So on HTML element, we have class dark. If we simply remove that, now the whole website is in white mode, and it looks, I think, amazing. Not compared to dark mode maybe, but in general, it looks amazing. The whole source code is available on my GitHub. It's open source. You can clone, you can modify, and redeploy on your domain. What are we going to learn by building this project? We're going to learn how to install and manage Laravel project with Sail, which is a command line interface built on top of Docker. How to add Tailwind.css to our Laravel project. How to work with Tailwind components. We're going to learn how to add Alpine.js in our Laravel project and how to work with it. We're going to learn how to work with Laravel components, how to generate them, what are the differences between anonymous and class-based components. We're going to create scalable component directory structure, which can be used in much bigger projects than a single-page portfolio website. We're going to learn how to handle form submission and data validation with both Alpine.js and Laravel. We're going to learn how to configure and use Laravel 9's Symfony mailer in our project, how to deploy our application on a production-ready environment and attach it to a custom domain. And finally, how to generate SSL certificates and attach it to our domain. If at some point you feel that you don't understand certain things, you can of course let me know in the comment section and I will do my best to help you. If you find this video helpful, make sure you like it and share because that really helps me to grow on YouTube. And if you want to see more videos from my channel, hit the subscribe button and enable notifications. Alright, no further time spending, let's jump into the project. COVID-19 and pandemic showed everybody how important it is to be a software developer and have well-paid remote job. Today's sponsor is Arc. Arc is the easiest way to find remote job as a software developer. Arc has amazing services to help you prepare your resume, get prepared for your technical interview, and find your desired remote job. Arc's Resume Builder is an excellent tool to prepare your resume for your next remote job. You can upload your existing resume or prepare a new one from scratch. Arc also offers Resume Guide, which will help you to avoid common mistakes many developers make when building up their resumes. Arc offers a very powerful tool to search your desired jobs and filter them by multiple criteria, starting from tech stack, ending up with job location and average salary. Arc offers Salary Explorer tool, which will give you a possibility to explore average salaries in your stack before you start applying to jobs. Arc also has a dedicated section for technical interview preparation. On that section, you will find practical tips and questions to level up your interview skills. To start with Arc, simply click on the link in the video description. It's absolutely free. Let's open Laravel.com and go in the documentation section. Right here, let's click on your first Laravel project. And right here, we have a couple of ways to install our Laravel project. The way we're going to choose is using Sail, which is a command line tool built on top of Docker. And it makes it very easy to interact with the Docker. Okay, let's scroll down below and we have three sections getting started on Mac, on Windows, and on Linux. On all those three operating systems, we need to run finally the same command, which will be using curl. Just we need to make sure that we are able to run Linux commands on our operating system. For Mac and for Linux, it's pretty straightforward. However, if you are a Windows user, you need to have, first of all, Docker installed on your operating system. Basically, you need to have Docker installed on all those three operating systems. Okay. However, on Windows, we need to have installed WSL2 as well. And we need to have installed Ubuntu operating system as well. So I have a video in which I set up a fully working Docker environment on Windows 10. You can check this out. I installed Docker Desktop, WSL2, install Ubuntu as well. And here we have all this set up ready. So in my case, I'm going to open Ubuntu, which you can just click in the start menu and type Ubuntu if you just follow my video, and it opens that Ubuntu terminal. I can run any Linux commands right here, and I'm going to run the following command on my Ubuntu terminal. However, if you don't have Docker Desktop and you don't want to follow this with Docker Desktop, which by the way is my recommended way, and I really encourage you to follow this tutorial using just like I do, install Docker Desktop and follow with Sail. But if you don't want that, you can scroll down below and find a section which gives you a possibility to install new project using Composer. Okay, you can do this if you want. In my case, I'm going to scroll up and copy the following command, go in my terminal and paste it right here. I'm going to change the example app name into Laravel. Actually, first I'm going to navigate into www folder. Then I'm going to paste this and change this into Laravel 9 portfolio. And I'm going to hit enter. The very first time you're going to run this, it's going to take a lot of time. So you can go ahead and have a good sleep and come back. And when this is done, oh, that's pretty cool. Support Ukraine. I lost that. Here it is. That's pretty cool. Well done. Again, the very first time you're going to run this, it's going to take a couple of minutes. You can have you can do whatever you want, and then come back to this, and you're going to have your project basically installed. Okay, so here is project downloaded, and now it asks me my Ubuntu sudo password. The same Ubuntu which I installed on my Windows inside WSL2. So I'm going to provide my password right here. and hit enter. And now my project was successfully installed. I can navigate into Laravel 9 portfolio, and I can run /vendor bin sail up. And that's going to start my sail services. So here are all the services that are running. Okay, here's the very first problem, and let's start solving our problems. The error basically indicates that I have some application running on port 3306, which is a port for database, and the port is already allocated, so I cannot start my services. So if you have some application already running, for example, if you have XAMPP already running with Apache and MySQL, they are going to occupy port 80 and port 3306. So you need to stop the XAMPP, Apache, and MySQL, or anything basically which occupies the following ports, 3306 and 80, and then you need to rerun this. So I had another Docker containers running, so I just stopped them, clear up everything, and now I'm going to rerun vendor bin sail up, and it should start my applications. Let's wait a couple of seconds. All right, here we have it. Now I'm going to open browser, and in the browser, I'm going to simply type localhost. And here I have very easily, and in like 2 minutes, you can have your new Laravel application up and running with database, with mail testing, Mailhog, and a couple of other things. Okay, all of that is actually ready. Perfect. Now we can already start developing our application. Let's first open our folder using editor or IDE. I'm gonna use, in general, I use PHPStorm, but I'm gonna show you how you can open this using VSCode. So you have to either open new Ubuntu terminal and navigate into this folder, or I'm gonna simply hit Ctrl and C right here, which will stop basically all the services running right here. You can hit Ctrl C multiple times if the first time doesn't work. It's gonna take 5-6 seconds to basically stop all the services, and I killed all the containers, and now I can run code dot, which basically will try to open the current folder using VSCode. Okay, or I can run explorer dot, which is gonna explorer dot exe dot, which will open the current folder in the Windows Explorer. Okay, and look at the path. This is the Ubuntu operating system file system inside my Windows. Okay, I can right click and open this as a PHPStorm project or open with VS Code. However, if you want to open this with VS Code, the other way is preferable. First of all, let me open this with PHPStorm, because I do use PHPStorm all the time for PHP development. So here is the project. Now let me collapse this, and let's open this Ubuntu once again, and I'm going to run code dot. Okay, now it already opened VS Code, and here is my project. So if you want to develop on VS Code, you can just open VS Code. Otherwise, just follow with me like I open with PHPStorm. Okay, here's my project. When I was building this portfolio, I used the following website for taking the ready components. So if you go in the component section, you can find a lot of ready components. A few of them are free, and most of them are actually not free, and you can purchase them. But what I found and what I needed was available for free as well. So for example, if we check modals, so in most cases, the first one is free and the others are not free. If we go in the footer section, the first one, this one is free, others are not free. And like this, basically, I copied only those sections which were free, and then I modified. Like if we go in the portfolio section, this is the portfolio which is free, and the others are not free. Okay, so if you click on this free version, you can have a preview. This is how it looks like, and go in the code section, and then we can grab the code and modify. However, this one uses Alpine.js, which is a very lightweight JavaScript framework, which is very easy to use, basically easy to set up and easy to use, and it's heavily used in Laravel components and third parties and so on. Okay, so we're going to use Alpine, and then we will be able to copy and paste those components and modify as much as we want. Let's open now PHPStorm. You can open VSCode if you want to develop on VSCode. And the main thing that we need to open terminal. Okay, we need to open native Ubuntu terminal. Like I can go in the Ubuntu terminal right here, and I can run any commands from here, or I can open VS Code if you are developing on VS Code and click on terminal, new terminal. Just make sure that right here you choose a terminal which comes from Ubuntu. So on the bottom left corner, you should see right here running in the Ubuntu WSL2. Then you're good to go. You can run any Linux commands right here. Okay, I'm gonna open VS Code as I mentioned. You can click right here, and now this is also integrated with WSL, and this is Ubuntu terminal also. So I can run any commands right here. So first of all, I need to show you how you can run any command you want inside the project. So if you have a fresh new installed of WSL and Ubuntu, you might not have any commands, like you might not even have npm, and that's the case in my scenario, in my case. Okay, I don't have npm, I don't have PHP, I don't have any commands run right here. So that's the whole point of having your project in the Docker. So you install only Docker, and then everything is run inside the Docker. Okay, that's pretty cool. Right now our application is not actually started. So if you go in the localhost and refresh, we won't see anything because we stopped using control and see our project. Let me actually close this Ubuntu terminal, so I don't need that. Let's go in the PHPStorm, and first of all I'm going to run vendor bin sail up. Okay, that's gonna restart all my services. Now I'm going to reload right here, and here it is. So my Laravel application is up and running. Now I'm going to open new terminal right here, or I can actually again kill just the following and just run sail vendor bin sail up using a -d, which is going to run this in a detached mode. It's going to take a few seconds, and right here I can run I can go inside the Docker container. So I'm going to run vendor bin sail shell, and that's going to give me access inside the Docker container where the source code is located. So if I just type ls-la, right here is my project. And inside I do have PHP. So I can run php-v, which is the PHP 8.1. I can run npm-v, and I have Node.js and everything where I want. Okay, so now from inside, I'm going to run npm install Alpine.js. Hit enter, and Alpine.js was installed. Now let's open app.js. I'm going to go in the resources, JS, app.js, and I'm going to write here, enable my Alpine. First of all, I'm going to import Alpine from Alpine.js package. Then I'm going to assign the Alpine to window Alpine so that I can globally access that, and then I can run Alpine start. That basically will give me to use Alpine.js code in HTML. Let's open welcome blade PHP, and let's try to use Alpine. Let's scroll down below, and right here I'm going to create a div element and use Alpine.js. Let's create a div element. Use the xData property to specify the Alpine.js data. In this case, we only specify count 0. Then we output that count 0, and I'm going to create also button, which when we click on the button, it simply increases the counter. So that's really simple. You have probably seen this in other frameworks as well. So let's just open now in the browser and reload the page. And right here, we see this click me. But when we click on that, it doesn't do anything. The thing what we missed is that we don't build our app.js. So, and we don't probably include that as well. So right here, I'm going to run npm run watch. I think we haven't run npm install as well, but because we installed Alpine.js, it actually ran npm install behind. Best would be before running npm install Alpine.js, we should have run npm install in general. Now, npm run watch is running. Let's go in the welcome blade, and down below I'm going to include, before closing body tag, I'm going to include the app.js from assets folder. Okay, let's just save this and reload the page, and right here I see 0. So when I keep clicking on the button, the counter increases, which proves that we have successfully installed and activated Alpine.js in our project. Now let's install Tailwind.css. Let's open the terminal. I'm going to kill this npm run watch, and I'm going to run npm install Tailwind.css. I'm going to specify -s to save this. Okay, Tailwind.css was successfully installed. Let's actually open package.json and have a look at the dependencies. So in the dependencies, we have Alpine.js and Tailwind.css. Now we need to generate Tailwind config. I'm going to run npx Tailwind CSS init. So it created default Tailwind config.js. We can have a look right here. Okay, it doesn't have anything right here. We need to specify certain things in the config. In the config, we need to specify that the Tailwind needs to watch the following files. It needs to watch storage framework views .php files. It needs to watch resources blade PHP files inside resources folder. It needs to watch resources.js, and it needs to watch Vue.js files, just in case. That's a default configuration, just in case we're going to have some Vue.js files. So if you want to see all these things in the written documentation, I really encourage you to check out the Laravel documentation. Scroll very top, and you can find Tailwind CSS right here somewhere. And this is going to give you a detailed guide how you can install Tailwind CSS in your project and do this. Basically, I'm going to show you the same thing right now. Okay, let's open now PHPStorm once again. Let's close this, and now I'm going to open resources CSS app CSS, and right here I'm going to paste Tailwind layers, the following things. So let's just paste them right here, and we need to open Webpack mix.js, and right here we're going to include Tailwind CSS. Simply, I'm going to write require Tailwind CSS. Let's save this, and now if we just run npm run watch, it's gonna build the Tailwind CSS, and the build files will be saved in the public CSS app CSS. Okay, this is it. Now we need to include this in our welcome blade PHP. Where it is, so right here, let's scroll at the top, and instead of these inline styles right here, I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to simply write a link with href, and from asset we are gonna include CSS app CSS. Let's save this. Oh, I think we need rel to be style sheet as well. Okay, here we go. So here we have Tailwind CSS included. Now, since we installed Alpine.js and Tailwind CSS, we need to activate some Tailwind TailGrids components and certain things. If we go in the template section, scroll down below, we can click any of the templates, download section, which will redirect us to this pricing scheme. But at the very bottom, there is option to download TailGrids free core version. And this is 100% free for, and it's open source, and you can use for any purpose you want. So we're going to click download on this. Okay, this is downloaded, and I'm going to extract it right here. And let's have a look what we need to do. So here we have a couple of files, and the main thing what we need to do is to have a look in the Tailwind config.js. So I'm going to open this with VSCode, and look at this. So in the content, it has HTML and some JavaScript, but the main thing is that it uses, inside plugin section, it uses a custom plugin called simply plugin.js. So this is the thing what we need to do. So I'm going to copy this, go in our project, and we need to open Tailwind config.js, and in the plugin section I'm going to put this, but we need to open and copy this plugin JS as well. So I'm going to copy this and paste it right here, and we can copy the post CSS config as well. and paste this right here. Okay, we're good. Now let's have a look in the what is inside the plugin.js. It has a couple of CSS classes basically added right here, and some styles to edit inside a snap image, the scroll snap, align, center, and so on. So it's some boilerplate code for this plugin, but we can customize anything if we don't want it to be right here. So if we scroll down below, we need to change a few things in my case. So in the color section, we have the primary, and that's not the primary color I want to have. So I'm going to change this primary. I'm going to set this into 0C7187. Okay, that's my brand color. I'm going to actually customize also the font size. And down below, I'm going to copy and paste certain font sizes. Okay, now I'm going to save this, and we have to rerun npm run watch. Now it was successfully built. Let's open in the browser and reload, and a few things have been changed right here. Now we can copy and paste the components and have a look how it looks like. So let's go in the component section and let's find Navbars, for example, and grab the very first one, the whole code. I'm going to copy this, go in the project, let's open welcome blade, and let's scroll down below, and just right here we can actually delete the whole thing. So I'm going to delete everything, and right here I'm going to paste this and format the code, save this, and have a look in the browser. Okay, here is the navbar. Let's inspect this and have a look if we have some errors right here. No, we don't have anything. If we just click on this, we see that the Alpine.js is also working because that functionality comes from the JavaScript. That's perfect. Very good start. I want to add two more things. First, I'm going to open source Tailwind.css, and down below, let's scroll down below, and I'm going to grab everything. Let's open our project that should be under resources, CSS, app CSS, and we're going to paste this here. And I'm going to use Roboto Mono font right here. So I'm going to put this right here. You can grab this from Google Fonts API. So just type Google Fonts, and we search for Roboto Mono, and this is what I got. So you can either download or select the style, and then you can grab this. So I want to select everything from Roboto Mono. So I'm going to basically click on select. So I select all, and then we go in the import section, and I'm going to grab this, and you paste it right here. So this is, now I have a correct font and correct CSS. Okay, perfect. So let's close everything, and I'm going to actually open editor config file and make a few changes right here. So for default, as a default, I'm going to set the indent size to be 2, and I'm going to duplicate these for PHP files. The indent size should be 4, and for the rest, I think I can leave everything as it is right now. Okay, those two changes are enough, so I'm going to save that. And now I'm going to generate component for layout. Now let's open the terminal. So this npm run watch is running, and it should be running. Okay, so now I'm going to open a second terminal and go inside the container. Vendor bin sail shell, and right here I can run artisan commands. PHP artisan make component, and I'm going to call this app layout. Hit enter. The component was successfully created. Let's have a look. Let's scroll up in the app view components app layout. This is how it looks like. I'm going to change the view into layouts or layout app layout, or layout simply app. And now if we go in the resources, views, components, we see right here app layout. I can create, and I'm going to create a new folder right here for layout, and I'm going to move this app layout inside the layout folder. And instead of app layout, this should be called app blade PHP. Okay, we need to have a header and footer right here. So let's just write header. We're going to have footer right here. And inside, we're going to output slot. The slot which will be passed from the welcome blade PHP. Let's open welcome blade, and I'm going to copy everything and go in the app blade, and I'm going to paste everything right here. So we have this header, we have this standard HTML boilerplate code, we have this new Nita font which I'm going to remove, and let's remove this one as well. And we have header. I'm going to create right here footer, and then again we're going to have slot. Now if we go in the welcome blade, we obviously don't need this header right here anymore, because that's part of the template. And I'm going to basically delete everything and create empty div element right here, which gonna be the content. Let's save this, but actually we need to use the layout, what we just created right here. Okay, so we need to write, what's the name of the component? The component is called app layout, which is inside the components. So we need to use app layout, app x-app-layout. Let's save this and have a look in the browser, reload, and we see header and we see content. And let's have a look in the footer if we see that footer. Save and refresh, and we see footer right here. Okay, just like that, we easily created a component. Now let's talk more about components and generate a few more components. Let's bring up the terminal, and I'm going to run php artisan make component. I'm going to create now Navbar component, but I want this component to be inside the layout folder, inside components/layout, or components/layout. So better if I do layout/navbar. So I want to generate the following component. I want to generate footer component as well. Hit enter. I want to generate navbar item for each individual item, and I want to generate navbar hamburger button as well. Hit enter. So I generated those 4 components. All of them are in components layout folder. Down below, if we have a look for the blade PHP files, those are in components layout. But we don't want them to be under components layout. We want them to be under layout. So I'm going to copy everything, cut, and put them in the layout. However, it's not going to work like this, because the PHP file, component PHP file, indicates where the actual blade PHP file lives. So if we open Navbar, right here under render, it says that the view for the following component is under components layout Navbar. Okay, this is something we need to change. So simply we need to remove the components from here, and we tell the PHP component class that the view file lives under layout footer. Okay, let's do the same for all. Okay, and just like this, we have our components ready. When we generate components, we can generate components as only blade PHP files. If we don't want to have class, we can generate only blade PHP files. However, if we want to change the view path where the blade PHP lives, we cannot do this if we just generate blade PHP file. We need to generate class as well. But if we simply need a test or a button component, we can give it a flag --view, which will only generate blade PHP file under components, and it's not going to generate class right here. Okay, but in this case, the location for the component is a default location. It's under components. I think this makes sense. So if you want to customize your location for the component, or if you want to pass any additional variables to your Blade PHP, you need to generate class as well. For example, in the Navbar, we're going to create a public variable right here, public, public, and that's going to be array, and that's going to be navigation items, for example, and that navigation items will be available in the Navbar Blade PHP file. So if we just simply print right here navigation items, just like this, it's going to be available. Okay, now we need to start step by step and create those components. Let's actually open this. Let's actually clear up everything in the Navbar, and let's start step by step right here. Let's first open this Navbar class, and I'm going to define the navigation items right here. Okay, this navigation items equals an array, and we're going to have a couple of items in the array. About section, so we're doing a single page portfolio website, so we're going to have sections. About section, we're going to have project section, we're going to have coding tutorial section, and we're going to have contact section, and that's going to be basically all. Now let's open the Navbar Blade. Let's actually close anything else for now. We don't need them. We open Navbar Blade, and let's start writing HTML. I'm going to actually run PHPStorm on a full screen. That's much better. Okay, we define comments for Navbar section start and Navbar section end. Then we create a header tag with xdata navbar open false, which indicates whether the navbar is open on mobile screen or it's closed. We specify classes right here as well, so we need to give it a position fixed, left 0, top 0, z-index 15, background white. We're going to give it a full width, flex, item center. We're going to give it a little bit of shadow. And when the dark mode is enabled, its background will change into slate 900 and the height will be 24. So if we have a look in the Tailwind.css, let's quickly open that. So I really encourage you to always have opened the documentation of Laravel when you are working on a project, the documentation of Alpine.js, as well as the documentation of Tailwind.css, because we're using those three technologies at the moment. If we go in the doc section right here, we can see colors, and where are those colors? And let's have a look. Slate. Okay, this is the color, and slate 900, this is the color which will be given to our header when the dark mode is enabled. Okay, let's continue. Next, we're going to create a container with shrinked width. Inside there, we're going to have an item with display flex, item center, justify between. It's going to have position relative, and it's going to have negative horizontal margin as well. Okay, inside there, we're going to have a div for the logo wrapper. It's going to have a padding right of 4. It's going to have width and max width as well. Inside there, we're going to have an anchor link with href / full width, display flex, item center. So those are, I think, pretty straightforward Tailwind.css classes. I explained it once, and then I think it will be very clear. So display flex, align item center, and vertical padding 2. Inside there, we're going to have 2 images, one for a white mode and second for dark mode. Okay, this is going to be for the white mode, this is going to be for the dark mode, and we're going to give them classes as well. So the width of 48 pixel on a large screen is going to have slightly more width, inline block, and on dark screen, on a dark mode, this is going to be hidden. Okay, for the second one, width is the same, and by default this is going to be hidden, but on a dark mode it will be visible. Next, we're going to put right here a span with the codeholic, my name, my nickname, and we're going to have some font size. On a large screen, it's going to have even more font size, font bold, text color, and on a dark mode, this is going to be white. Okay, so we can save this and have a look already how this looks. We don't have images, probably, and we won't see much. So let's save this. I think we don't use this Navbar Blade. Okay, let's finish this file and then we can use this in the layout. Okay, next we're going to have a div element to wrap the right side, which will be the menu items. Okay, flex, horizontal padding, justify end, item center. Continue. We're going to have another div inside there. We're going to have component which we just created, but we don't have content right there. That's going to be Navbar hamburger component. Okay, whenever this is clicked, we're going to inverse the Navbar open variable. So if it's open, we're going to close. If it's closed, we're going to open. And if it's open, we're going to also add class Navbar toggler active, so that instead of this 3 bar, we're going to see this X. Okay, let's continue. And we're going to have a nav, and the nav will have a class of hidden if it is not open. Okay, and that's relevant for mobile. Okay, so the nav will be hidden on mobile screens if it's not open. And it's going to have ID, of course. Inside classes, we're going to have position absolute, right, top, full position from the top, background white, horizontal padding, vertical padding, the index, some shadow, a little bit rounded and with full. Then we're going to have colors for the dark mode, BG slate 900 and text gray 300. And we're going to have some classes for large screen, like we change the padding, we change the full width, and we change the position, the display and position as well. So position will be static on a large screen and display will be block on a large screen. Okay. However, on small screens, the position will be absolute and it's hidden if the navbar is not open. Okay, let's continue. Inside there, we're going to have UL, unordered list, with block, and on large screen, it's going to have display flex. And inside there, we're going to iterate those navigation items. And these navigation items are what we declared right here. Okay, so we iterate, and we're going to use navbar item component. I haven't mentioned this, but any component should be prefixed with X. And again, I encourage you to always you should always have your documentation open. So if we search for blade right here and search for a component section, you're going to find a lot of information regarding components. Okay, just have a look. And right here somewhere it is mentioned that you should always prefix your components with X dot. Okay, it's going to be written somewhere right here. But yeah, generally without X and dash, it's not going to work. And we're going to use the navbar item, what we just created. We haven't written the actual code inside there, but the file is there. Okay, then we're going to output the label, this one. And inside href, we're going to pass the item href. Yeah, that's it inside this file. Let's save this, and we don't use this. So let's actually go in the app blade. Let's remove this header completely, and I'm going to use now x layout.navbar. Okay, so when the, I think it's layout.navbar. Let's have a look. So the component is inside the layout folder. So when the component is inside the folder, you should separate with the dot. Okay, in this case, we should always prefix the component with x dash, and then we write layout, and then we write dot because the navbar is inside the layout, and here's the navbar. Okay, we save this and now have a look in the browser. Refresh. Okay, let's enlarge this. So we don't see logos because we don't have them, but why don't we see menu items? Of course, because we haven't implemented these files and the hamburger as well. All right, let's first copy and paste logos. So let's go in the public, and inside the public, I'm going to create a folder called image, and inside the image, I'm going to copy and paste my images. Here, I'm pasting 2 images, logo PNG, this one, and logo white PNG, this one. Okay, so I save this and refresh, and now my logo is there. All right, let's talk about the dark mode. So if we open the app blade, and we need to add right here class of dark. So if we save this and refresh, all right, nothing really happens, and it doesn't affect because we have to change one thing. In the Tailwind config right here, there's a property called dark dark mode. And by default, it takes the browser settings. And in my case, my browser setting is set to white mode. But if I change the dark mode to be class-based, in this case, because I added right here a class, it's gonna change the dark mode and my navbar should be dark. So reload, and just like this, my navbar is basically dark. So if I remove this class dark and refresh, then my navbar is light. All right, I'm gonna set this into dark, and let's go in the navbar item and let's implement this. But before we work on the blade PHP, let's actually open navbar item and add right here a public property href, because we're passing that href right here, and then we're using that inside. We should use that inside the navbar item. So open navbar item, and I'm going to write here constructor property promotion, PHP 8.0's feature. So public string href. And just like this, this will be available in the navbar item, and I can simply print this right here, href. Save and reload. All right, sometimes this doesn't work. Sometimes I see blade errors because of caching, and this happens quite often in my case. So simply, I'm going to run PHP artisan view :clear. That's going to clear caches for view files, and let's reload the page, and now it works. So that was the reason. But why we don't see the menu items? So let's expand this, click on this under UL. We do have those items. Okay, but why we don't see? Probably because we're on a small screen. If I zoom out, now I see them. Yeah, because I was on a small screen, so that's a mobile screen. That's why I didn't see them. So if we just zoom out them, or if I just move this down and zoom in, now I see them. All right, that's perfect. Now let's work on this file. So here I'm going to create a lead tag. Inside there, I'm going to create a tag with href, and I'm going to output slot. Okay, and I'm going to give it classes as well. Some text small, font medium, text dark, and I'm going to add on hover to be text primary. I'm going to give it on dark mode the text to be gray, and on large screens and extra large screens I adjust the positioning and margin. Okay, that's all. So I save this and I refresh this, and here are my menu items. Now let's create Navbar hamburger. So we don't need to work basically anything right here. We don't need to pass any arguments. Simply we're going to open Navbar hamburger blade PHP, and we're going to make some changes right here. All the code I'm writing here comes from this TailGrids Navbar section. So if we go right here, so this is the Navbar hamburger, which I'm going to copy and paste. I already have those copy and pasted, but if you don't have, you can actually get those from here. So this is hamburger, for example. So we can get this button from here, copy, and put this right here. Let's format this and save. And then we refresh and zoom in, and here's this hamburger button. Okay, so if I just simply delete this, then the hamburger button is not visible. Okay, but I'm going to make some adjustments right here. So that's why let me actually delete up and rewrite everything. So we create button right here with 3 bars. Inside there, I'm going to use PHP blades variable, built-in variable attributes. But I'm going to take all the attributes given to this Navbar hamburger component, and I'm going to merge those attributes to the current ones. So in this case, we're merging all the given attributes with the Navbar toggler ID, and for the classes, we're going to specify block, absolute, some margins, paddings, rounded, and a couple of other things. And for the focus, we're going to give it ring 2, and on the large screen, it's going to be hidden. Okay, now I save this and refresh in the browser, and here's our hamburger, which looks pretty much the same what we had when we copied and pasted from here. All right. Now we have created Navbar. Let's focus on the footer. So I'm going to open the footer right here. Let's open TailGrids and have a look in the footers. So this is the footer. Let's click on this first one, which is free, and let's slightly zoom out. It's much better. So we have a lot of sections right here, but we don't want all of them. So I just want to have the social icons and maybe a text, follow me on social media. So I don't have those things, but I really like those elements. So this circle which fades out into white, and down below there is another circle which also fades out. So those elements make a website pretty, in my opinion. Okay, so I want those elements and then simple text and social icons. Okay, so if we have a look in the code, we can analyze right here bunch of SVGs. So those are menu items, but if we scroll down below, so this is the SVG, and that SVG basically describes those paths. Okay, so you can grab those SVGs and put in our code. Here are more SVGs. This is the linear gradient. I think those are the circles, and the other SVGs are social icons. Okay, we need all of them. So let's go in the PHPStorm, and I'm going to actually create one component for social icons because I'm going to use that component in other section as well. So PHP artisan make component, and let's call this social icons. And this component should be view only. I don't want class to be generated. I want this to be on its default location, and also I'm not going to pass any attributes to this component. So I'm going to give it view. Let's hit enter. The component was created. Let's have a look. And under component section, this is social icons blade. All right. Let me actually copy and paste these icons. So this div, scroll down below, copy, and put this right here, format the code. I'm going to adjust this right here because I want to slightly increase the width and height, and I'm going to do all these things in a moment. But let's go in the footer, and in the footer simply I'm going to use x social dash icons. Okay, that's the component I'm going to use. Let's actually open up blade, and let's use right here x layout footer. Let's save this and have a look right here. All right, we don't see the footer. What's the reason? So in the elements, we have body, we have header, content, and we have footer. But that footer is, I see, that footer is below the navbar, this header, because this one has position fixed, and that's why the footer is below that. So we need to give it a slight padding. So let's actually open up blade right here. Actually, I'm going to do a few things. So let's add the following classes. So on the body, I'm going to give it a class text gray 800, and on a dark mode, let's give it a text gray 200. I'm going to create additional div right here with classes of min height screen, background gray 100. On a dark screen, we change the background, and with padding top 24. That's going to do the trick. And then everything will go inside the div. This is good. Let's refresh the page, and here is my footer. Okay, it doesn't look pretty. That's why I want to adjust that. Let's go in the footer, and let me work right here. All right, let's work on the footer. So we're going to create section start and end. Inside there, we're going to create footer with the background for the dark mode and for white mode as well. Inside there, I'm going to create container. Inside there, we're going to have a display flex div. And right there, we're going to have this follow me on social media text. And on the right side, we're going to have these social icons. Let's create footer with classes like background gray on dark mode, background slate, and so on. Inside there, I'm going to create container and an element with display flex. Then we're going to create the follow me on social media text. And on the right side, we're going to have these social icons, and I'm going to remove the margin bottom, any kind of margins on that social icons. And then down below, I'm going to create those two SVG elements. So again, let's have a look right here. So we have those two nice SVG elements, this one and the other one. So I'm going to simply copy and paste those SVG elements. The first one, both of them will have position absolute, left 0, bottom 0. And this is the first one. And let's save this. And here is the second one. So let's hit this save and open and refresh, and this is my follow me on social media. That's pretty cool. I really like those SVG icons right here and right here. So let's actually work on the social icons, and I'm going to slightly change those. Let's go in the social icons section. First of all, I'm going to link this into my Facebook page. So let's put right here my Facebook page URL. Let's change the width into 10 and height into 10. This one has border specific color, so I'm going to change this into border dark. I'm going to give this one also border 2. Then we're going to have text dark, and actually on a dark screen, I'm going to give it text white. On hover, it's also text white. On hover, the color is changed into primary, the background color, the border color is also primary. And I'm gonna do the following. On a hover, on a dark mode, I'm going to change the border to be primary as well, so it has a slight margin, and I think that's good. I'm going to also change the width and height of this, so I'm going to change this into 10 and maybe 18. Save this and have a look. So this is my Facebook, and I think that's not bad. Maybe I should change the border color into white as well. So on a dark mode, I'm right here, on a dark mode, border to be white. Save and refresh, and that's good. Okay, I need to copy and paste those CSS classes for other social icons as well. Save and refresh. That's pretty cool. I really like it. All right, now let's link those social icons to my actual pages. So let's collapse this. The second one is the Twitter. Put this right here. The third one is YouTube. Put this right here. And the last one is LinkedIn. I don't use LinkedIn that much, and it's not relevant for my profile. So I need to change this into Instagram or something else. So if we just type Instagram SVG icons, we can see a bunch of SVG icons right here. You can download any, whichever you want, and just replace this. Okay, this is, I already searched for an Instagram SVG icon, so I'm going to replace this SVG with mine. Let's save this and refresh, and this is the Instagram icon. And I just need to link this into my Instagram page. And that's it. So I now have all those pages linked, but I'm going to add target blank to all those pages as well. So first one, I'm going to use a multi-cursor right here using my Alt, and then target needs to be blank for every link. Refresh the page, click, good, click, perfect. So all of them works fine. So we have header, we have footer. I think we need to focus on the content. Before I focus on the content, I need to do a few more things. So first of all, this is not perfectly aligned vertically, so I probably need to do some things. This one has margin bottom 6, and let's actually go in the footer, and we use this right here, but those classes are not actually used. So that happens probably because we don't use them right here. So I'm going to use attributes class, and we're passing right here what we have by default, and it's going to override what it comes. Let me actually completely remove this margin bottom 6. I don't want that. So save and refresh. And now it is perfectly aligned in the center. Another thing I want to do is I want to put a YouTube subscribe button in the header, in the navbar. So let's actually open navbar.blade.php, and down below in this unordered list, I want to put a YouTube subscribe button. So we need to create right here a div with a special class g-yt subscribe. We're going to specify right here that data channel ID, that's going to be my channel ID, and then I'm going to specify attribute data layout to be default. But that's not going to work unless we include the JavaScript file. So let's go in the layout app, Blade PHP, and in the header, before the closing head tag, I'm going to include the script tag from the APIs.google.com.js platform.js. So if I save this and refresh in the browser, we see right here the YouTube with my subscriber count, and it's basically there. Well, we need to apply a little bit of CSS right here. So let's go in the navbar, and I'm going to actually wrap this button inside a div with margin left, on a large screen it's going to have margin left 10, on extra large it's going to have even more. It's going to be position relative and top 1. If we save this and refresh, now it looks much better. Okay, let's now start working on the sections. And let's open TailGrids, and I want to copy and paste a few sections from here. So let's scroll down below. Well, let's click on About. So this is the first section I want to have. Maybe we're going to first have a hero section and then other sections. So, but this is the About section, which I definitely want to include. I also have images prepared. Where is the hero section? Headers and heroes. So this is the hero section I want to include. Okay. Then what we have, features and services. I don't want any features and services. I want definitely portfolio section, this one. I want call to action section, so I'm going to use this one as well. And I think that's basically all. So we're going to have hero section, call to actions section, about, portfolio, and some videos. So that's also good. So I'm going to use this individual video and create new unique section. So all the source code, I'm using only free components. Don't be scared. You can also use those components if you want. I already have them slightly modified, so I'm not going to come right here and click copy and paste, although you can do this thing, but I'm going to actually write those Tailwind CSS classes. All right, let's start from scratch, and I'm going to generate sections. So I'm going to generate components. So PHP artisan make component, and first let's start with hero. Well, when you generate a component, you can generate class component, or those are anonymous components, view only components. Okay, in most cases I need only view only components. There are two sections which I want to be class based. One is the videos, and second is the portfolio items, because I'm going to pass those elements, video elements and portfolio items from the component itself. So I'm going to simply generate right now only anonymous components. PHP artisan make component hero and dash view. But I want that to be inside a home folder. So I want to create a component directory structure which can be scalable, which can be useful for any kind of project. Okay, so I'm going to organize my sections inside a folder, in this case home, and that's going to be the page. So later, if I have a blog edit in this, we're going to have different folders for each section. But I'm going to organize right now all of them into a home folder. So we have hero, we're going to have about section. I'm going to use the call to this call to action as a learn PHP section. So learn PHP. We're going to have portfolio section, and we're going to have, well, actually the portfolio should not be view only, it should be normal component. So I'm going to delete the portfolio and regenerate it without the dash dash view flag, and I'm going to generate now video tutorials section, and that's going to be also class-based component. All right, I think that's all. We have I think 5 sections, and the last one is contact section. I completely forget that, so we need contact, and that should be also view only component. And for the contact section, we can use, if we go in the forms, we cannot use this one. I'm sure there is a contact section somewhere. Contacts, and this is it. So I'm going to use the following section for contact. So all of them is free and you can use also. Let's start step by step, and I'm going to start with the hero section. Let's create a wrapper element for everything. Inside there, we're going to create container, and then a div with a flex, and then another div with full width, and then we're going to have the hero content div. Inside there, I'm going to create h1 with the text, with the welcome text, basically the very first text, what the other users are going to see. And down below, we're going to have a paragraph with some additional information about me. And down below, we're going to have a link to my YouTube channel. And down below, I'm going to also create a button which is going to be linked to my projects. So right here, we are using X button link component. That component doesn't exist yet, but we're going to create that soon. Down below, I'm going to create another div with the class clients, and follow me on social media. That is basically copied from the TailGrids, from the hero section, from here, and then this basically was changed into social icons. So I decided to change this into social icons, and then right here we have this X social icons. Down below, we're going to have the div for the right side for this section. We're going to have a couple of nested div elements. Then we're going to have image, and we're going to have this span with SVG for those circles. All right, I think that's it right here. Now let's actually use this hero blade in the welcome blade PHP. But actually, I'm going to change this welcome blade PHP into probably home blade PHP. And let's open roles. So we are, let's go in the config. Where is, roles web PHP, and instead of welcome, I'm going to change this into home. And if we just open home blade PHP, we can change this into X home dot hero. Okay, that's the section I want to use. Let's save this and refresh. And we have an error because the button link component doesn't exist. Now I'm going to create this component, and I'm going to actually specify right here. I think we made a mistake. So when we generated these video tutorials, we made a mistake. And before I generate this button link component, let me actually fix this mistake. So we gave it name with dashes, and then probably if we have a look in the components home, this video tutorials PHP is generated with dashes, and inside there the class name also is generated with dashes, which is obviously wrong. So I delete this portfolio and video tutorials, or we can actually undo this and I can manually fix. So this should be uppercase portfolio, and that should be Pascal case video tutorials. Okay, or when you generate those components, you should always give it uppercase. So uppercase home/video tutorials. So I'm not going to run this because it's going to complain that video tutorials blade PHP file already exists. So I'm going to leave this as it is. And I'm going to change the name of the files as well. That should be video tutorials, and that should be uppercase P portfolio. And I'm going to change the namespace as well to be uppercase home. However, we need to change the namespace here and here as well. Okay, PHPStorm automatically changed that for me. All right, now let's actually generate a component button. That should be a class-based component. So button link, make component button link. Okay, awesome. So here is a button link component, and we're going to pass a couple of things right here. First of all, we're going to accept href, public string href. Let's actually open button link blade as well, and this should be a, and inside the href we're going to output href, and we need target as well to be, let's output target and open this button link, and we're going to use public string target to be by default self. Okay, we're doing this, and then we can output the rest of the attributes using attributes, and I think that's it. Or of course we can call attributes merge with href and target, which is going to be the default thing. So we have different possibilities to do the same thing right here. But the main thing is that this button link component will be a very reusable component in my website. Okay, I'm going to have it in multiple places, in different variations, different colors, etc. So I'm going to add a variant public property right here, public string variant, and it's going to be primary, but I'm going to support other variants as well. Let me actually move this down, and then right here I'm going to use the default classes. Okay, let's move this down as well. Okay, on attributes I'm going to call class, and then right here we're going to have default classes. As a default classes for every button link, we're going to give the following classes. So some paddings, it's going to be rounded, the font size, border, etc. Okay, then based on the variant, we're going to give additional classes. Like if the variant is outline primary, we're going to give it hover. On hover, it's going to be background should be primary, border should be primary, and text should be white. On outline red, we're going to give the on hover background should be red, border should be red, and etc. So you get the idea. So you can read these classes. On red, it's going to have border red with background red, text white. We're going to have dark variant, and that's basically it. And we're going to have, of course, primary variant. Okay, so we have those variants already, and inside that button, I'm going to, of course, output slot, which is going to be the default slot. Now I save this and let's refresh the page, and now this is how my section looks like. My name is Zura. I am the Codeholic. I'm a developer with 10+ years of experience. I'm sharing blah blah blah. I click on the YouTube channel. It's going to open in a new tab, and this is the link, button link, which we just created, my project. So when I click on that, it's not going to do anything right now. Basically, it opens in a new tab, which is not good. It should basically scroll down to the project section, which we haven't yet implemented. Okay, if we go in the hero, right here, we have this button link. We don't provide target blank right here, but why does it have target blank? No, it doesn't have, it has target self, but it should be target underscore self. It's my bad. Underscore self. Okay, refresh, and clicking doesn't do anything at the moment. Let me actually copy and paste this hero image in our project. So let's go in the public folder. So right here under images. So I'm going to actually copy and paste all my images So I have 4 of them. So this is the me hero, which I want to put on the hero section. So we have this first one, the second one, and the third one. And that will go in the about section. But as far as we have this me hero, then we should see it right here. And we do see that perfectly. And the social icons, that's reusable component which we use in the footer and in about me as well. That's linked to the corresponding social media channels. And while we are here and watching my social media, why don't you click the subscribe and the notification button and follow me on social media? I really appreciate your like if you enjoy this video, if you learn at least the basic things, your appreciation will be just like, subscribe, and share. Thanks a lot, and let's move on to the next section, which will be about section. Let me actually close all these tabs. I don't need them anymore. And let's open about.blade PHP, and let's work right here. Okay, I'm going to create div element with Tailwind.css classes and ID about. And when we click on the menu item right here in about, it should scroll down to the about section. We have, of course, Tailwind.css classes. And when we're using Tailwind.css, we're going to always have a bunch of Tailwind.css classes. So we have on dark mode, the background should be Slate 800. We're going to have padding top on a large screen, even more padding, and so on. So you get the idea. So if you are at least familiar with the basics of Tailwind.css, you should be able to read what those classes are doing. If you don't, if you have zero experience, of course, it's going to be hard, and probably you should have like zero experience. What the bullshit am I talking about? Inside the section, we're going to have nested div elements, container with div flex and the full width, and another flex and another full width. And then we're going to have image. That's going to be the very first image. Let's actually have a look into the about section from the Tailwinds, how this should look like. About, this is what we are doing. Okay, and we have dots right here as well, which we're going to do. If we have a look in the code, we see a lot of SVG circle elements, and that describes those dots. We're going to extract them into a separate component because it's going to make our about section very large for no reason. Okay, let's move on, and then we're going to have a div element for the third image, which is going to be this one. And then we're going to have another div element down below, which will have an image too. So this one. Okay, next we're going to create those dots, it's about dots. We don't have, again, this component, but we're going to create that. Down below, we're going to have additional div, which describes the right side of the about section. Inside there, we're going to have a block quote. I wanted to put a single block quote right there, which describes my personal character. So, and I believe that everything is really achievable with hard work. I really believe that from my experience, like I really wanted to achieve one certain thing for 5 years, and I was doing the necessary thing for every day, every week, and finally I achieved that. So everything is really achievable with hard work. That's my block quote, and you should of course put your block quote whatever you want there. Of course, then we're going to have some information about myself, and this is going to be the title. We're going to have a paragraph, 2 paragraphs basically about me, the first and the second, and then I'm going to again put a link to my YouTube channel, because that's where I can share to anybody else. So I share all my knowledge there. So that's why I promote my YouTube channel. And if you find that useful, you should I really appreciate if you share it to others as well. Okay, let's talk about this about dots. So we definitely need to create this component. In this case, it's going to be a view only anonymous component, and I'm going to call this actually I already called that about dots dash view. Hit enter. Now let's open about dots blade, and let's copy those dots from here. Okay, Well, actually, let's have a look. So after the image, then it comes about dots. So I think you should take this one. The whole span element, scroll down below. There are a lot of dots. Okay, I copied the span element, go in the about dots, replace everything, format the code. It's not actually very well formatted, but okay, now let's have a look in the browser, refresh. Well, we don't see anything because we don't use that. Let's open home.blade.php and duplicate this and x home about. Save and refresh. And here's about section. This is the block quote. Everything is achievable with hard work, about me, and view my channel. I think this looks good. However, I want to have something in between right here, the hero section and the about me section. So I'm going to put right there learn PHP, which is going to be call to action. So I'm going to create this one. Okay, let's go in the PHPStorm, and we actually, I think, created this component. So if we go in the resources, views, components, home, we have learn PHP right here. Okay, so I'm gonna put right here my learn PHP, but I'm gonna also create another component which is gonna be reusable call to action component, so that we can use anytime we want. Okay, so let's create make component. Well, actually, let's make this as a class-based component. So let's call this call to action. And we don't need this view. Hit the enter. Let's open the left side. In the component section, we created this call to action. And let's now implement this. Let's have a look, close look how this looks like. There are two SVG elements. Look at this in the background. So this circle, and right here there's another circle, and then text and buttons. Let's collapse the left side, and right here we're going to create a section wrapper for everything else. Then we're going to have div element with the background primary and position relative, slightly rounded, with the paddings, and inside there we're going to have container with the elements, and then I'm going to output title right here, and then we're going to have another div elements, and we're going to output default slot information right here, and down below we're going to have a wrapper for those two SVG elements, the first one, and here's the second one, and we're going to use this in the learn PHP. Okay, let's clean up everything. And right here we start using this call to action component, and inside the call to action component we output two variables, title and slot, and we're going to create two slots right here. One will be named slot and second will be default slot. So x slot title, and whatever we put inside there, it's going to be outputted right here. And okay, then we write here h4 tag, check my PHP developer roadmap, and another h2 which will be start learning a PHP for free. And then down below we're going to have buttons, and those buttons will be in the default slot and outputted right here. One button will be to view my channel, and second will be to watch on YouTube. Okay, so we save this. And let's actually use this in the home blade PHP. So in between, I'm going to write x learn PHP. Save that and refresh it. And we have an error, x learn PHP doesn't exist. Why it doesn't exist? Because it should come from home. Home.learn PHP doesn't exist. Well, learn PHP doesn't exist, but it should be home learn PHP. Refresh, and here's our section. Okay, view my channel. I think the text should be different. It should be view on GitHub, because that links to a GitHub. Refresh, view on GitHub, and watch on YouTube. So this is my this is a promotion of my PHP developer roadmap, and you can start learning PHP for free. Of course, you can check it on GitHub, in which you will find basically all the resources I recommend and the path, and watch on YouTube where I define what path you want to follow, what steps you want to follow basically to become a PHP developer. Okay, this one is really good. Now we have a good separation between the about section, hero section, and about section. All right, the next section we're going to work is portfolio section. Let's have a look in the Tailwind grids, TailGrids. So we have these portfolios, and I'm going to grab that. So it has a couple of items. It's going to also apply some filtering using Alpine.js, which is pretty interesting. So let's implement this. Okay, let's open portfolio blade PHP, clean up everything right here. We're going to also open portfolio PHP, and we're going to define portfolio items right here. I'm going to define two variables right here, public array items, and the second one will be tabs. Okay, we do have items right here, 6 items, but they are spread into 4 categories: branding, design, marketing, and development. So we need array of tabs and we need array of items. That's why I define those 2 arrays right here. Now let's go in the portfolio blade. All right, let's start creating portfolio section. And first we define the section, we give it ID, we give it classes, and in the X data, I'm going to define a couple of properties. Selected tab, which by default is all. We're going to have active classes and we're going to have inactive classes. So those classes will be added to the corresponding tab elements. Then down below, we create container with nested div elements. Everything should be centered. And then we create H2, my recent projects. That's going to be title of the section, and subtitle will be you learn by building something. Basically, that's where I think personally. So I think that you learn, or kid is learning by doing certain things, by breaking down, by building, and we developers, when we grow, we learn as we build more and more. And that's what I'm thinking. Okay, the next will be section for the portfolio items itself. And right here, no, first we're going to have tabs. And right here, we're going to have the very first tab, which will be all projects tab. And of course, we're going to give Tailwind.css classes. And then we're going to start iterating the rest of the tabs. Okay, and we need to declare those tabs right here. And by when we start iterating, then we have each tab. And if whenever the tab is clicked, the selected tab becomes this tab. And we also add conditional classes. If the tab is active, we add active classes. If it's not, we add inactive classes. And we also give it default classes right here. Okay, and down below we have a main section for our portfolio items, and right here we iterate over my items and pass the attributes to each portfolio item. We give it a title, we give it category, we give it image, and the GitHub link. And this portfolio item does not exist yet, but we're going to create that. All right, this file is ready. Let's go in the portfolio PHP and define items. Right here in the constructor, these items equals an array, and let's start defining each individual portfolio item. I'm going to put the items which the portfolio items, the projects which I have built, and in my opinion will be useful for others to view on GitHub, because all of them are open source, or watch on YouTube. You should put the projects you're proud of and you want the decision makers of the companies to have a look so that they can hire you if you're looking for a job. Okay, here are my portfolio items. I'm going to give each item category. Laravel, Tailwind.css, and Vue 3 are the categories of the first item, the title, the image URL, and the GitHub link. Okay, and let's define other items. This is my second, my third, fourth, and fifth, and the last one, sixth one. And those are my tabs. Those are my items, and now I want to define tabs. So the tabs basically should be the unique list of categories. Okay, I basically want to take the categories of all items, what I have right here, combine them into a single array, and then take unique values, because E2 is twice and the other categories are also twice. So what I do the exact same thing right here. So these tabs equals these items, but I want to first take the categories from those items, and I'm going to use array helper pluck method, which will take the categories. In this case, we give the second argument category, so which will take the categories and create an array of arrays of categories. Okay, then I'm going to apply array flatten, which will take that array of arrays and convert into a single dimensional array. And in this case, we're going to have a single dimensional array, but the elements will be twice there. So if I just save this and go in the browser and refresh, let's see, where is the portfolio? We don't use that. Okay, let's try to use and see what's the result. Home blade PHP and X home portfolio. Save and refresh. We have an error, portfolio item does not exist. All right, let's first create that. I want to show you the process of this thing. Okay, so PHP artisan make component portfolio item. Hit enter on that. We don't need to put anything right there. It can be empty at the moment. Refresh it, and down below you see we have all those tabs. Okay, if we just revert this into array pluck, then we're going to have array of arrays, and we're going to have problem right here. Okay, but in this case we have a plain array of categories, but because we have repeated values, we simply want to take a unique value. So I'm going to call array unique on that. And this is the final thing. So we have the following categories: Laravel, Tailwind.css, Vue 3, E2, Bootstrap, PHP, and Vue.js. Perfect. Now I think we can work on the portfolio item, which we just created. Portfolio item blade PHP. Okay, we create a div element for everything. Then we're going to create X data categories. So basically from the portfolio, we pass the categories, and that one is an array. Okay, this is what is passed in the portfolio item. So we call JSON encode that, which converts this into a JSON, and then we initialize categories using Alpine.js X data attribute. Okay, now categories is Alpine.js categories array. Then right here, we add conditionally, we add classes if the selected tab is all or categories include selected tab, we give it a block, otherwise hidden. So that's basically important to hide and show, like it is implemented right here, to hide and show certain items. Okay, if the given categories includes the selected category, then we give it a block, or if the selected tab is all. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Let's move, and now we're going to create a div element to wrap the image. We're going to also wrap the anchor tag around the image, so that whenever you click an image, it's going to open the GitHub link. Here is our image. Down below, we're going to have description, title. We're going to have categories separated by comma, and we're going to have title, and we're going to have the button. The button will do the same thing when we're clicking on the image itself. Okay, so we save that and refresh that, and we have an error, undefined variable categories. That should not be undefined unless we missed one thing. So let's open portfolio item. I think we missed right here. So here we're going to have public string title, public string or public array categories. We're going to have public string image and public string GitHub link. Okay, we save that and refresh that. and unresolved dependency resolving string title. All right, maybe that's the case of the cache, the problem of the cache. So PHP artisan view clear, refresh, and I was right. So that Laravel cache is kind of annoying very often. Okay. All right, let's zoom out slightly. Definitely the items don't look nice. They don't look as I expected. The images are of course missing, so let's actually copy and paste those images. Let's go in the public image and paste. We have 6 images basically, so let's refresh. Okay, and here are our images, but they are huge. So I think we missed some CSS classes. Let's go in the portfolio item right here and understand what is missing. That's actually good that it happened. So the reason is that the npm run watch is not running. So I stopped it between recording different sections, and it is stopped. And that's the reason. So Tailwind.css watches what classes you have given to HTML elements and then generates CSS based on that. And right now, because it doesn't watch, that's why it didn't include a couple of CSS classes in the final output. Okay, and that's why we see that huge images. So simply, if we just run npm run watch, it's going to start watching. You can run npm run dev as well, but it compiled successfully. And if we refresh the page, now this is how our portfolio items look like. Okay, which is pretty cool. So if we click on them, it's going to open GitHub links for each individual portfolio item. Pretty cool. All right, let's zoom out. Okay, I think we are done right here. Let's test the filtering. Okay, filtering works perfectly as well. Awesome. The next section is the video items section. Okay, let's close those tabs, and we actually have generated the video items. Let's just open a video tutorials blade, and we're going to work right here. We will need video tutorials PHP to define items right here, and we need to declare video tutorial item as well. So for this, let's go inside the container shell. So vendor bean, basically when you notice right here your computer name and your project folder, it indicates you that you are not in the container terminal. So we are right now in the Ubuntu terminal. So vendor bean sail shell, and we are right now in the container shell, and we can run PHP artisan make component video tutorial item. Hit enter on that, and let's open now video tutorial item, and we need blade file as well. Video tutorial item blade. Awesome. Let's start defining video tutorials right here. I'm going to define a public property right here, public array video tutorials, and then down below we're going to assign. So each video tutorial, we're going to have video ID, title, and description. And based on the video ID, I'm going to generate a link for the YouTube. Okay, let's open a video tutorial item, and we're going to define right here public string video ID, public string title, and public string description. Okay, those variables will be available in the video tutorial item. Let's actually define this item first. Each individual video item should look like it is on the TailGrids. So if we have a look in the videos, so this is how each individual item should look like. So we have this play button, we have the dots, we have the this spinning animation, but we need to add a few more elements, like we need to specify title and description, a short, very short description of the video as well. Okay, so let's go in the portfolio item and first define div elements with the W full and background white. And this one will have different width based on different screen size. On very large, we're going to show 3 items. On medium screens, we're going to show 2 items. On a small screen, we're going to show 1 item. Inside there, we're going to have video section and then video content. And this video content will be for title and description. Inside that video section, we're going to have the section which basically will hold the Alpine.js data right there. Okay, this Alpine.js data will have video open, whether the current item video is open or not. By default, it's of course false. What's the actual video URL? And based on the video ID, we generate this following video URL, and we're going to have the current iframe URL, which by default is false. So whenever someone clicks on the video, we're going to set this URL based on this video URL, and also we set the video open true, which displays the pop-up. The pop-up is, by the way, displayed right here as well. So when you click on the item, it opens, and when anywhere outside is clicked, the video is basically closed. Okay, but right here on this example, when we click outside, the video still continues playing. So if you have a look, it's 1:52, click outside, wait a couple of seconds, click, and then it continues. This is something we don't want. Okay, we don't want the video to be played in the background, so we simply need to stop the video. So that's what we are going to do. Next, we're going to have div elements for the thumbnail of the video, and we're going to generate the thumbnail based on the video ID. So if you know video ID, you can easily get the thumbnail, and that's i.ytimg.com, vi, and the video ID original JPG. So that's where I'm getting. We're going to give some Tailwind.css classes with full hateful object cover to the image. Down below, we're going to have video play section, which will have position absolute. So this will be for the play button, which we need to put in the center. Okay, this is what we are doing right here. And we're going to also wrap everything in the anchor tag and give this one classes to put it in the center. Inside there, and whenever this item, this is important, whenever this play video is clicked, we set the video open to be true and the URL to be video URL. Okay, this URL then will be used inside the iframe. Okay, we're going to have this span, which will be for this animate spin or ping, how it's called. It's, I think, animate ping. And then we're going to have the play icon, the SVG play icon. Down below in the video section, we're going to have the div, which will be displayed only if a video open is true. And it will be displayed using animation transition. It will have position fixed, top, left, full width, height will be also full. And inside there, we're going to have iframe, which will have the source bound from the URL. Okay, that right here we use Alpine.js binding possibility. And whenever outside of this div element, somewhere outside is clicked, we set the video open to be false, but we reset the URL to be an empty. So basically iframe will not have URL when outside is clicked, and just like that, it's simply stop playing. The video will stop playing. Okay, then down below we're going to have another button, which will be the close button for the video, which will set the video open to be false. And then we're going to have this close SVG icon right there. So, and in the video content, we're going to have div element, which will have the section of 324 height of 320 pixel. And inside there, we're going to have h3. It will have the link to the actual video, which will open on the YouTube in target blank. And down below this h3, we're going to have a description. Okay, that's it right here. And let's actually now go in the video tutorials and implement this section, and then we will be able to see. Okay, we create the main section for video tutorials. Inside there, we create 4 nested div elements. Again, like I don't really like that many nesting HTML elements, but I copied and pasted this from the TailGrids, and because it was there like this, I simply copied and pasted. I generally, when I write from scratch, I try to have as less nesting as possible, but I'm not expert design guy, so I just use existing designs as they are. So right here, we put video tutorials title and put a subtitle. And down below, we start iterating over our video tutorials, and we render each individual video tutorial item passing video ID, title, and description. And down below, we're going to put a button in the center that's going to be view all tutorials. Okay. I think that's it right here. Let's actually save this and have a look. So we refresh. And where are video tutorials? They are not here because we don't use home blade x home video tutorials. Save and refresh. Okay, now here's our video tutorial section. We have those videos, pretty nice. View all tutorials. When we click on this, it opens a YouTube channel. We have the title, so when we click, it opens each individual videos, which is pretty cool. And when we click on these, it opens the video, but it doesn't autoplay. Let's have a look in the video tutorial item. So when we define the URL, we specified autoplay to be 1. But the restriction from the browser is that you cannot autoplay if you don't have your player muted. So if we set our player muted, then autoplay will work. But I don't want to start my video tutorials muted because the whole idea is to listen them. So that's why I don't, this autoplay, but by the way, is probably extra. So we don't need them. So when you click, simply opens, click on them, and then it starts playing. Okay. And it's not actually muted. And when you click outside, like this is 1930, when you click outside, the video doesn't play. And when you click there, it starts from scratch. Okay, it doesn't continue playing in the background. All right, that's for the video tutorial section. I think the last section we have to do is the contact section, including email sending. Now, let's work on the contact section. I'm going to close everything, and let's actually open contact blade PHP and clean up everything right here. For the contact section, we're going to use the following element. It should be somewhere right here. Contacts. Click on this. Okay, on the left side, we're going to have like a small text and maybe my email. And on the right side, we're going to have name, email, and I don't need phone. I'm going to remove that, and message. So you can have all kind of information you want, but I generally don't want the contact form on my profile. So I maybe even comment out when I launch my website on production, but I definitely wanted to include this in the video because contact form is a very essential when you are doing your portfolio or single page corporate website or whatever. So working with email, sending emails in Laravel is absolutely important if you want to have a portfolio. So let's do this. Let's define the main section for contact with background and with paddings and some overflow and everything regarding CSS. Next, we're going to define nested containers. Inside there, we're going to define the title for business inquiries. Let's actually immediately include this so that we can have a look and test this. So refresh and okay, for business inquiries. Let's continue, and then we're going to define a paragraph with some text, why people should reach you, why should people contact you. Then we're going to have flex, element with flex, and inside there we're going to display the SVG icon, which will be the following icon, or the following icon, whichever you want. In this case, in my case, I'm going to only have email, so I will have envelope icon. And down below, I'm going to put this H4 email address will be my email address. Okay, save this and refresh. And this is how it looks like in my case. Okay, we continue, and down below we create now section for the right side for the contact form area. We define the form the action will be contact submit, method will be post, and we define the X data. I'm going to do the form submission using Ajax, and I'm going to use Alpine.js for sending the data, for using the two-way binding on the form inputs, also displaying errors. Okay, I'm going to use Alpine.js for that. So I define form data inside this form. We have the CSRF, which I think we don't need, but let's have it, and we can delete it later if we don't need that, because we're going to do the CSRF validation, CSRF passing token slightly differently. Okay, then we're going to have inputs right here. Okay, those are the components which don't exist, forms input, but we're going to create that. We're going to have name, email, and text area, which will be message. And down below, we're going to have button, X button component. This button component also doesn't exist, and we're going to create that soon. So if we just refresh right now, we're going to see error because forms input component doesn't exist. Okay, let's continue. Down below, we're going to have a element, that's the design element, this one, this blue circle, half circle, quarter circle, something. Okay, that's the design element. What do we have down below? And down below we're going to have dots, contact dots top and bottom. So I created those components because one is for this one top and the bottom is for this one. If we go in the code, we see down below a lot of circles, and I didn't want the contact form to be very large just because of circles. Okay, so I created those components. Okay, now let's create those components like contact dots and forms, text area, X button, and so on. So let's bring up the terminal and we're going to run PHP artisan make component. Let's start from the bottom. So that's going to be contact, because those are very easy. So contact dots top, and this should be view only, contact dots top, that's right. Second will be contact dots bottom. We're going to create now with class-based components. That's going to be forms slash input, forms slash text area, and we're going to have normal class-based button component as well. View already exists. Did we create that? If we go in the resources, views, components, we do have button component, but that's empty. I think we created this one when we created button link. Okay, that's good. We do have those. Now let's actually grab those elements. So we have two sections, one for top, second for bottom. Let's grab them. Let's open contact dots top, and here are copied SVG elements. And let's open second one, contact dots bottom, and paste them right here. We do have all the components created, so let's reload the page. We should not see any errors. That's right. Scroll down below, and we do have those elements like dots bottom, dots on the right side, which is pretty cool. Now let's implement those inputs. Let's open, let's actually first implement button blade PHP, which basically will be equivalent to link, button link, but with minor differences. Okay, this should be button. This should not have href, should not have target, but it can have all those things. And if we open right now button PHP, we just need to have right here, what do we need? I think the only thing we need is variant. Okay, public string variant. Let's save this and reload the page. Okay, varianting. Okay, I think this is due to cache. So let's run PHP artisan view clear, reload. No, I think this is not because of public string variant. Strange, why do we get that? Enable unresolved dependency resolving. Do we pass the variant? No, we don't pass. That's the thing. That's why we need right here default value, primary. Save and refresh. Okay, now down below we have this send message button. Okay, let's focus on the inputs. Forms/input blade PHP, and the second one will be forms/text area blade PHP. And we also need to open forms/input class and forms/text area class. Let's start with the input. Okay, if we have a look in the TailGrids and have a look how the inputs look like. So each input has a type, placeholder, and class. Type, placeholder, class, and the text area has, of course, rows, placeholder, and class. So we don't actually need to define any attributes explicitly in the component class at the moment, so that we can simply go in this input, and if we just copy this, okay, and slightly modify, okay, if we just format that, and then what we need to do is we simply output attributes class, and we specify right here default classes. So those are the default classes. We put them right there. And the attributes class basically will output any additional attributes like type text or placeholder. So if we just simply remove these, everything, I think that's what we need. Save that and refresh, and we see those two inputs. Okay, but I want to make this nice on a, make this dark in a dark mode. So I'm going to add additional classes. Okay, for dark mode, it should have BG Slate 800, and on dark mode, its text color should be gray 300. Save this and refresh. Okay, looks nice. Your email, your name, your email, and let's focus on the text area. I think we have it opened. Here we have this, and let me actually copy everything from here into text area, changing this into text area. And let's have a look. So we have this, which looks nice. So we have now our form ready. When we click on the send message, it does the normal form submission, but we want to change this and convert this into Ajax form. Okay, now let's go in the contact blade, and now let's focus on the couple of other things. So first of all, looking at the X data on the form, we need to add right here two variables, errors and success message. So when there is an error on the form submission, like for example, email is not valid email or name is required and user didn't provide that, we're going to put all that in the errors object. Success message will be displayed whenever user successfully submitted the form. Okay, next we're going to define submit form function, which will accept an event right here. First of all, it's going to reset the success message and errors if they are set. And we need to add this submit form on the form itself using XOn, which is the Alpine way to attach event handler on the submit, XOn submit, and we also call the prevent. This function will be called. Okay, then we're going to call fetch, and we're going to make a request on the following endpoint /contact/submit. The method will be post, and we pass body, and that's going to be this form data. Scrolling down below, we see that each form element has XModel, and that XModel defines two-way data binding on the form data name or form data email. Okay, and that's from the Alpine.js. That's coming from the Alpine. Okay, and just like that, the form data will contain name, email, and message. Next, we need to pass the headers. So we need to indicate the backend that the content type of the request is application JSON. We're going to also indicate that the request is made with XML HTTP request. That's gonna play a key role how the response is returned from the backend. So if we don't pass this X requested with, then if something is wrong, the backend will trigger a redirect header. But if we pass it that, hey, we are making requests using Ajax, then backend Laravel will return the corresponding JSON. Okay, and we also need to pass CSRF token inside the header. So we pass X CSRF token, and we need to take the meta with the name CSRF token and use its content. Okay, so for this, we need to open up Blade PHP, and we don't have meta right here, so we need to define that meta, which will have name to be CSRF token, and content will be CSRF token. Okay, just like this. Okay, go back in the contact. So we pass this header, and then we need to listen when the request is fetched, and then when the request is finished. So we need to get the response. If the response status code is 200, then we're good to go and we can return response JSON. However, if the status code is not 200, we're going to throw the response. Okay, and we're going to add additional then, which will be triggered if the response is 200. And right here we get the result JSON, and we reset the form data, and we show the success notification that thanks for your contact request. I will get back to you shortly. Okay, and down below we're going to have catch, which will be executed. The catch callback will be executed when the response status code is not 200. And if the status code is 422, we know that we're gonna have errors. Okay, result errors. We're gonna assign this into errors object, and we also console log the result. Down below, we want to display the success message. So if the success message exists, we're gonna display that with some padding and colors, and the background will be green and the text will be white. Okay, and now we need to handle validations as well. Okay, so if the errors are returned, then we know that something bad happened, and the errors object basically right here will contain the key. Inside the errors object will be the field name, and the value will be array. Okay, we can pause right here and just go back and implement the controller at the moment, and then we can display the errors if something is going on. Okay, now we're going to create PHP. We're going to run PHP artisan make controller, and we're going to call this contact controller. Let's open now contact controller and create function submit. Okay, we get, of course, request right here, and I'm going to call request validate. We have name, and this needs to be required. We have, I think I switched to JavaScript. We have email, which needs to be also required, and it must be also valid email address. And we have message, which needs to be required as well. Okay, when this request validate happens, we're going to get the validated data, and if something bad is going on, Laravel will automatically return errors array. We don't need to do anything right here, but if code execution comes right here, we can already send email. Okay, we know that we're good to go, and we can send email, and we can return with something, I don't know, success true, whatever, because the status code, as far as the status code is 200, then the front end, the Alpine.js knows that it's success. Okay, we can return success true. Okay, so we save this. Now we need to open web PHP, and we need to add a route for contact submission. Route on post contact/submit. We're going to use contact controller submit method. Okay, Now let's open the browser and refresh, and let's open Developer Tools, go in the network section. Let's zoom out slightly or move this on the right side. Okay, let's do like this. And let's actually click this send message immediately. Okay, the request was made. Look at this. And the response is, response contains errors right there. The email field is required, message field is required, name field is required. That's the case we need to handle. Okay, we submitted the empty form and we need to display errors right there. So let's go in the contact again, and so we're sure that whenever we get the errors, these errors will be populated. Okay, so we need to do like this. If errors contain inside their name, then on input we add border red 500, and on focus we also add border red 500. Okay, without this, when we focus on the input, it's going to turn into primary color. Okay, we do the same thing for others, and we also need to display the error. So if error's name exists, we simply display the first error there. Okay, there might be multiple errors. We don't need to display all of them. We simply display the first one. And we do the same thing for email and display the first email error, and for message. Okay, and display the first error there. Save this and reload the page and hit the send button. We don't see the error. If we go in the console, result is not defined. I think that happens right here. That should be res, because right here we have res. So we save this and refresh, scroll down below, go in the network, clear, hit right here, and we have another error. Let's go in the console. Okay, can't read properties of undefined, reading message. So the problem is that errors is not defined. Okay, let's observe what is the result right here. So let's go in the info section and click, and we get response. Okay, so this is the response, but we don't actually want, if the response status is 222, then we need to get the response body, and then we need to take errors from here. So that was my mistake. Sorry for that. So this is response, and if the response status is 422, or in general, we get const res equals response.json, like this, and then we get res errors right here. So let's reload the page and click send message. Simply because the response.json returns a promise, so we can write await here. We can make this asynchronous function, save and refresh, and hit this. Okay, here we go. So we get errors printed right here, and the form inputs are also highlighted. What is the more important thing is that we need to actually send an email, right? So if everything is okay, if I fill up my form, let's fill up certain things and hit send message, the errors disappear. We get this success notification. Thanks for your contact request. I will get back to you shortly. But the actual email is not, of course, sent. Okay, and this is something we need to take care. All right, let's now bring up the terminal, and we need to generate a mailable class. PHP artisan make mail, and let's call this contact mail without space. Okay, mail was created, and you can find the mailable classes right here in the app, mail, contact mail. And the purpose of this class is that it contains all the logic of email sending, including the building the email itself. Okay, we can accept some arguments in the constructor. We can create public properties right there, and those public properties will be available in the template. Common practice is to create a template inside the email folder, and let's call this contact. So let's go in the resources, views, and inside views, I'm going to create a folder called email, and inside there, I'm going to create a blade file contact blade PHP. Okay, simply let's just put right there contact form. Let's do like this. Okay, but right here we need to define certain things. So first of all, in the constructor, I'm going to define public string name, public string email, and public string message. And then right here, I'm going to set the subject of the following contact request should be contact mail from the codeholic.com. So that's my website, and I set the subject will be contact mail from the codeholic.com. And I'm going to set the reply to as well. So reply to will be this email. Whoever entered his email right there, that's going to be replied to. So whenever I reply from my email, it should go to there. Let's go now in the contact controller and finalize the thing. So we're going to use mail helper, illuminate supports mail facade, and we're going to use to, and in this case I'm going to specify the email to which I want to send an email. Okay, I can set this to my email, the codeholic at gmail.com. Okay, that's my email. And after this, I'm going to call send method right there, new, and in the send, we're going to pass mailable class. In this case, we pass contact mail, and we pass the name, email, and message. And all that comes from validated. So validated name, validated email, and validated message. Okay, so let's move this send down below. But one tricky thing, so I actually spent some time to figure out that I had this problem, is that, so one important thing is that right here we defined a message. That wasn't actually a good idea because the message keyword is preserved in the contact, email contact. So if we open right here, no, if we open, where is it? So let's just open email / contact. Message keyword, message variable is preserved. Okay, and it means something else. If you want to know more about sending emails in Laravel, check out the mail section right here, and you can find all the details, including more information about the message. So the message is automatically available in every blade file which is used to send an email, and just like this, you can't use that. So we need to call this something else. So let's go in the contact mail, and maybe we can call this body. Okay, and now open this email contact and define this. Okay, so here's my template. So you have contact request in H3, name and email and body. So we output all that. Now let's go in the user interface and actually make a contact submission request. However, we need to test where the email will be sent. So because we have our application start and up and running using Docker and Sail, there is a service for that, Mailhog. And the Mailhog will send emails. That's a tool service for testing email sending, and locally on localhost port 8000, I think 25. Yeah, there's the Mailhog service running. I'm going to allow notifications, and any email sent right now from my Laravel installation will be received right here. So if we open env file and have a look in the where's email host, whenever the email host is Mailhog, then it comes right here. Okay, so on production, we need to change the email host into something, Google or whatever SMTP we are using, and then in this case, it's going to work. But for now, let's go and fill up the form. I'm going to call this John at example.com. Hello there, and hit the send message. Okay, I got the notification. I got even a desktop notification, and here's email. On Laravel, contact mail from thecodeholic.com. The sender in this case is Laravel because that's the application name, and we can change this. If we go simply right here, we can set the codeholic.com. That's the application name. But you have contact request, name is John, email is this, and hello is there. And we don't see reply to probably right there. We don't see that, but reply to will be used the john@example.com. So whenever we get this on an actual email, then we can easily reply. Now, let's have a final look of our website. So we have, starting from the header, we have the hero section with social icons. Everything is linked properly. We have this some call to action section. You should probably put right here whatever is more relevant and you want to highlight that section. About me, pretty descriptive, pretty straightforward. We have the my recent projects or portfolio section. We have the links to the projects on GitHub. We have video tutorials section. We have finally contact section. Everything is responsive, so we can test this. Starting from a very screen size, we can see that everything looks nice. The buttons can be like we need probably a small margin right there. And let's actually do this very quickly. So let's search for this is learn PHP section. Okay, we have two buttons right here, and we need to give this one class. We do have class. So we need to give this one width of full, margin bottom 3. Okay, refresh. We have the full width button. We need to give it also text center. Let's move this down. Okay, view on GitHub. However, this will not be good on a large screen size. So we need to adjust this as well. On a large screen size, we need to have width to be probably 64 pixel. Let's test this how it looks like. No, 64. No, 64 is too small. That should be. What about giving auto? With auto. Okay, I think that's good. And yeah, that's good. So we copy and put this right here. Oops. Refresh. Two buttons, and on a small screen, this is how it looks like. Okay, let's scroll down below, view my channel. It can be on a full screen as well, on a small screen. Down below, videos. Let's open the video. Okay, pretty nice. And we have the contact form. Everything is really good, really nice. I think now we can start working to deploy this. And final thing I missed, we need to test how white mode looks like. Okay, just close your eyes. I'm going to switch this to white mode. Okay, did you close? Okay, let's have a look. So this is how white mode looks like. I think that's pretty nice as well. The filtering works fine. This is the contact form. Looks pretty nice. Let's try to submit the contact form on white mode. Okay, nice. So everything works fine. Let's switch this back to dark mode. Okay, you can open your eyes. My current domain is managed by GoDaddy. So I have purchased from GoDaddy, and we have to change the DNS setting so that it now points to the hosting provider we choose. In this case, I want to host my website on a Hostinger. So I'm going to click on my domain, which I want to manage. Then on the right side, there's manage domain link. I click on that. And if we scroll down below, we have right here DNS as well. So we can click right here or down below. The domain has a manage DNS button. Okay, so let's click on this. And here we have the DNS records. And down below, we have name servers. My current website, thecodeholic.com, is hosted on DigitalOcean. Let's see this. So this is coming soon page, which I did like 2 years ago, and since that I just couldn't find time to create website. Okay, this is managed on DigitalOcean. This is hosted on DigitalOcean, which is, by the way, an amazing hosting platform. I really like DigitalOcean. It's very like convenient. They have pretty good servers and it's cheap. But I'm going to host on Hostinger because it's even easier. So I'm going to choose shared hosting, and I don't have to manage my servers. I don't have to manage my database, anything. So all is managed by the Hostinger, and it's also very cheap, even cheaper. If you just purchase 1 year plan, it's even cheaper than it is on DigitalOcean. But big advantage is that I don't have to manage my Apache and server and MySQL and everything. Okay, so I have simple SSH access on the Hostinger, and I can go there and deploy some changes. Okay, I'm going to click change right here, enter my own name servers, and I can delete this, and we have to put Hostinger name servers right here. Okay, so here's my Hostinger account, and here are name servers for Hostinger. So this is the first one, this is the second one, and let's delete this one, and I'm going to click save. If you have already existing account, then you can change name servers and point to whichever hosting provider you want to choose. I'm using Hostinger. This video is not sponsored by Hostinger. I did a couple of sponsored videos with them, but this particular one is not sponsored. I just like their services and just want to share this with you. And I'm honestly hosting my service, my website on the Hostinger. That's the fact. Okay, I want to change this. It's going to take a couple of seconds or minutes or even hours, depending on where is your location and certain things. And after this, when we refresh the website, we basically don't see anything. It's going to be broken, but we're going to host it on the Hostinger, and then we will make it active again. Another good thing I like in Hostinger is that they give you a very good email service on your custom domain. So in this case, I have possibility to, when I move my website into Hostinger, I have possibility to take email hosting as well. Anything at thecodeholic.com will be my email, and I can use that. So this is the Hostinger welcome page. If you want to follow with me and host your website on Hostinger, you have to first sign up. It costs $3 per month. It costs $3 per month if you purchase it for 1 year subscription. You hit the getting started section, you read all those things, you go in the registration. You can choose right here 48 month, 24 month, whichever you prefer. But if you decide to go with the Hostinger, use the coupon code right here. Use the coupon code TheCodeHolic, and that's going to give you additional 10% discount. So if you switch to 12 month, you have to pay $33 totally for 1 year. Okay, and that includes a custom domain name. If you don't have domain, like I do have, and I just redirect my domain into Hostinger, but if you don't have a domain and you want to have a domain, then it gives you a domain name, it gives you a SSL certificate, it gives you a couple of other benefits, and you have premium shared hosting for 12 months, which is, believe me, it's very awesome. So if you just decide to host on Hostinger, use the coupon code TheCodeHolic, and you're gonna get additional discount. Okay, after several minutes, thecodeholic.com got offline because the DNS was changed. Now we need to go in the Hostinger control panel, and we need to add right here a new website. So I'm going to click on manage on premium shared hosting. Let's scroll down below, and we need to find add website under domains. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to specify the domain name, and that's going to be thecodeholic.com. The password, which will be used for FTP, we can leave this empty or click on this generate password. We cannot actually leave this empty. We need to generate. You can type whatever you want or just hit the button and generate random password. I'm going to add website and I'm going to save the password because that password can be used for FTP access later if I want. Let's go on the second page, thecodeholic.com. I'm going to click on manage on this domain. Now let's scroll down below and I want to access the file system using SSH. Scroll down below, go in the SSH access, and here's my PuTTY access credentials. And here is the SSH CLI command using which I'm able to access it. I can use PuTTY or any SSH client to easily access my server. So just make sure that SSH access is actually activated and your public key is added right here. Okay, if you just registered on Hostinger and you want to access using SSH, you have to add your public keys. We need to download PuTTY, which comes with a PuTTY GEN. So let's just open PuTTY GEN. And right here, you need to click the generate button and move your mouse randomly, which will generate public private keys based on your randomness. And then you can save public keys and save your private keys under .ssh folder in your home directory. I do have those already saved, so make sure you save them if you are doing this a very first time, your public keys and your private keys. Okay, again, save public key and you need to call this idrsa.pub and the private one will be idrsa.ppk. Okay, now let's close this and I'm going to open now idrsa.pub. So for this, you can simply go to your home directory under SSH folder and right click on idrsa.pub and open this with VSCode. Okay, and this is it. So we can copy this and put this on your Hostinger SSH public key section. I think I already have this added right here, so I'm not going to do this. But if you're doing this very first time, if you don't know how to generate your public private keys, just follow the instructions what I showed to you. Now I will be able to access my server using command line. Let's click right here and open PuTTY, which is a client to access your SSH client to access your servers. Right here, we need to specify the server host name or IP, and this is the IP. I'm going to put this right here. The port is this one, so we need to put port right here. And we have the username as well, so I'm going to copy the username. So I can give it a name, and this is thecodeholic.com. And I'm going to click save right here and then go in the connection data and under auto login username, I can put this username. Okay. And we need to go in the SSH section under auth, and right here, I need to choose from my home directory idrsa.ppk. So I'm going to open this. Now we need to go in the session and click save again, which will save your auth private key as well as connection data username. If we go in the session right now and click open, it's going to open SSH connection into our server. Okay, so let me actually collapse this and have a look. So we need to now clone our project and install this. First of all, let's go in the file manager and have a look. So if we just type thecodeholic.com, we don't get anything. We have the SSL error because the SSL certificate is not installed on Hostinger. However, if we just open this in incognito, thecodeholic.com without HTTPS, okay, this is what we get. Okay, your account has been created, and this indicates that we have successfully connected our website to Hostinger. We don't have SSL, which is fine for now. We can add this later, but as for the website itself, it's already connected. Okay, we need to go in the file manager, thecodeholic.com, and in the public HTML, right here we see this default PHP, which is the content rendered right here. Okay, we don't need that default PHP. We need to do it slightly differently. Okay, what I'm going to do now, open PuTTY again and type ls -la to see in which folder I am. And right now I am in the root folder right here, where I see only public HTML. All the other files are basically hidden for me. Okay, now I want to clone my project right here. So let's check in which folder I am. I'm in the root folder, and I need to clone my project under domains. Okay, so let's go in the domains and see what domains I have there. I'm managing multiple domains, and I want to go inside thecodeholic.com, cd thecodeholic.com ls, and right here I see public HTML. So I'm going to clone my project right here in this thecodeholic.com. I'm going to copy my Git repository HTTPS URL, and I'm going to actually remove this public HTML. So I can remove this from here as well. So click on delete. Click on delete. I think I don't have permission to delete that. Okay, I can do this from here. So rm-rf public HTML. Okay, it was deleted. Now the codeholic.com, if I refresh it, it's gonna go offline. Okay, not found. That's fine. Now I'm in the codeholic folder. I'm going to run git clone and the URL, and I'm going to specify dot, which indicates that I want to clone this project in the current directory. Hit enter. It's going to take some time. Okay, it was very fast, and now I have all the projects right here. So if I click refresh, I see all the projects right here. And the thing is that I need to have right here public HTML, and I don't have that public HTML. That should be the web accessible folder. Okay, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to create symbolic link ln-s. Public should be linked into public_HTML. Okay, and if I refresh this right now, I see that public has a symbolic link to public. So that's actually wrong, shown in the Hostinger file manager. If I type ls-la, I see public HTML. There is public HTML, which is symbolic link on public. Now I need to run composer install to install all my Laravel dependencies. If you are running this very first time on your Hostinger, it's going to take some time. It has to download all the dependencies. As soon as this is ready, we need to continue. Okay, composer install was successfully run. If we just try to have a look in the browser, we should see a couple of errors. It's not going to work because we have not yet successfully configured. Let's have a look. The first thing we need to do, let's enlarge this, we need to create env.env file. So I'm going to copy env example into .env. And now let's open env and adjust a few things. First of all, the application name is Laravel, and I'm going to change this into thecodeholic.com. The environment should be production. Up key, we need to generate that up key. We can set the debug into false, but let's leave this if there is some error so that we can easily fix. Up URL will be thecodeholic.com. For log channel and everything else, we can leave this. For MySQL, I don't really care because at the moment I don't use MySQL, so which is fine. Down below we have a couple of other options. We will need to configure mailer settings, mailer, host and port and everything, but let's leave this for now and make the application first running. So I save this, reload. No encryption key is set, which is fine. We're going to run PHP artisan key generate --ansi. Okay, the key was set successfully. Refresh the page, and here's our website on thecodeholic.com. So we have our website hosted already in a couple of minutes, which works fine. Linking to any social media and anything like, of course, the contact form will not work yet, because we haven't provided correct SMTP credentials, but everything else should work. All right, let's now take care of SMTP credentials. So I'm going to go in the Hostinger and let's click on the home page. And down below, I have this email section, and I can configure all my email hostings from here. So if you if you just registered on Hostinger and just took a new domain, you're going to have, as I mentioned, hosting and SSL, and you're going to have also email hosting. So you can easily take your email on Hostinger. Let's go on the second page right here, and here's the codeholic.com setup not finished. I'm going to click on this and now configure SMTP credentials. So here I have two options to choose: the business email, which is $1 per month, or I can have free email. So because I migrated my domain from another domain provider, that's why I have to choose business email. I have to pay if I want to choose business email. But if you just purchased the Hostinger shared hosting services, you probably will have business email there. I'm going to select the free plan for now, and I just need to configure that. Okay, I can choose Zura at thecodeholic.com. And let's automatically generate password. I'm going to copy that. Password recovery email address. I'm going to specify my email address right here. I'm going to click create new account. And now we have to verify our domain ownership. Okay, that's something we must do generally if we want to connect email hosting to our domain. So let's click this verify domain button. I think we don't have anything else. Let's click on verify domain. And what we need to do is that we need to add these MX records to our hosting. Okay, because my hosting, my domain is now managed on Hostinger, I can do this from the Hostinger panel. Okay, I'm going to open this in a new tab, and let's click on the websites, and I'm going to click on the codeholic.com, and let's search for emails. No, we need to go to DNS section. Subdomains. Let's search for DNS. Okay, where's it? Okay, DNS zone editor. This is what we're looking for. And right here we have a couple of DNS records, but what we need to do is to add these MX records, MX1 Titan email. So let's click on, let's choose the type, MX. The name will be this one, mail server, MX1 Titan. We added first, MX2 Titan. We added the second. And since after we did that, we need to go in the hosting again. Let's go back. Or right here, we basically have a couple of options for domain verifications. One is for MX records. Second is for text records. Okay, delete other existing MX records. We don't have, I think, any MX records. No, we do have mx1hostinger.com. Let's leave those and have a look. And after this, we need to click verify my domain. Let's have a look. It's going to tell us if it's successfully verified or not. No, they are not verified. Let's do the second step. Access your domain's DNS settings and the following text record. We need to add the text record as well. So let me copy this, come right here and add text record with this text value. Okay, we added this text record somewhere here. Here we have that. Now let's click verify my domain again. Okay, for text record, it was verified. However, it's not verified for MX records, and the possible reason might be that we have other MX records for Hostinger. So let's delete that MX Hostinger, this one and this one as well. And we only have Titan emails left, MX records. Perfect. Now let's go on the second tab and verify my domain. Okay, now text record is unverified. It's weird. So where's the text record? Here it is. So let's reload the page and have a look. So we have text records. Let's search for this one. We have successfully added. Okay, let's click this verify once again. Now both are unverified. I think it needs some time. So DNS changes can take up to 24 hours to reflect. That's totally true. It generally takes much less, but we need to wait. So when you are transferring your domain, it generally needs some time, especially if you are making some changes in the DNS. So let's wait, and I will check it later. I think we didn't do it pretty correctly. So we didn't specify priorities at all. So for MX1, the priority should be 10. For MX2, the priority should be 20. So let's go in the DNS and find the MX1. And for MX1, the priority should be 10. For MX2, we should change the priority to be 20. And there it is. This should be 20. And we also need to set the TTL to be 3600. So let's change 3600, and the priority should be 20. Let's update this, and let's update the TTL for MX1 as well. It was automatically updated. Let's reload the page. Okay, for MX1, MX2, TTLs are correct, priorities are correct. Let's check for text, TX record. What is the TTL? The TTL is not correct. Let's change this into 3600, and let's now click verify. Okay, that was the case. So now both was successfully verified, and my email, thecodeholic.com, is now active. All right, how I can test this? Let's go in the email section, and I need to get first SMTP credentials. So click on this because I'm going to use that for email sending. We have email accounts. I do have a possibility to check my inbox right here. Here it is. Access webmail. Just click on that, and that's going to give me access to my webmail. I need to use the password which was generated when I created that email. I'm going to put the password right here and click on login. Confirm the recovery email, and voila, I was able to access my email. So I do have now my custom email addresses, zura@thecodeholic.com, which is pretty cool. Okay, I can do other things like to finish my setup. I don't actually care this at the moment. What I care is that to use the SMTP credentials, I can turn on the notifications, okay? But I want to I want to take SMTP credentials to use that. So let's search for where are those SMTP credentials. It should not be here, in my opinion. It should be somewhere right here. Okay, it's not here. Let's check what do we have here. Okay, email accounts, internal forwarding, catch all emails, import email data, domain verification, get mobile application, custom, day key IM, configure desktop app, upgrade plan. Let's click on configure desktop app. Maybe it can give us some SMTP credentials. Here it is. So here we have something, configure via IMAP and via POP3. Okay, this is something I'm going to use right now. So let's go in the terminal and clear up everything. And I'm going to open .en file. And if we go in the mailing section, mailer will be SMTP. Let me actually paste password right here, which is the password for zura@thecodeholic.com. I'm going to blur this, and the username needs to be zura@thecodeholic.com. Let's specify the port. That should be 587. As for the host will be SMTP Titan email. It's going to be the outgoing server. So we have host, we have port, we have username and password. For the encryption, we need to specify start TLS. And we need to test this everything. Okay, this is the start TLS, and from email address, in this case will be zura@thecodeholic.com, and mailer from app will be the application name. Okay, let me actually save this, and we need to test email sending if that works or not. So let's go on the website and go in the contact section. John, email will be john@example.com. I should receive my email on thecodeholic@gmail.com because we left that as hard-coded in our code. Okay, lorem ipsum. So let's click send message, and we got success notification, which is cool. Now let me access my Gmail. Okay, here I got email in spam. So that was received in spam. Because simply similar messages were identified as spam, the email template is not well formatted. It might cause the problems, but you get, and I'm going to report that this is not spam, so that I need to have this in my inbox. And here it is from thecodeholic.com. I received a request that john@example.com has the following message, lorem ipsum, which is awesome. So we have successfully deployed our application. We have also successfully implemented, we have successfully taken custom email, and the only thing which is missing right here is SSL. To set up the SSL, we need to do two things. First, let's go to the Hostinger HPanel dashboard and click the Manage button right here, and let's change the domain into thecodeholic.com. Then I'm going to search right here DNS. We need to update DNS records right here. And the second thing we need is SSL. I'm going to open this in a new tab. We need to have both opened right here. So we need to generate our SSL certificates, and we need to update DNS records as well. If we go in the SSL, we have two options. We can purchase SSL for our domain, or we can import pre-generated existing SSL certificates. But in this case, if we're going to import, we have to generate somewhere for our domain. If we want to purchase, we have to pay about $12, and that's a lifetime price for the certificate. I believe it's a lifetime. Generally, certificates cost per year, but I think Hostinger offers you a lifetime. Anyways, I don't want to purchase new SSL, so we want to generate free SSL certificate and import it right here. So for us, relevant section will be second tab, which is import SSL. And right here we have two text area fields, two required text area fields. One is for CRT and second is for key. So we need to generate those and put them right here. To generate SSL certificates, we need to use the following package. I'm going to put link in the video description. Let's scroll down below and find the installation section. And on that installation section, we need to download and unzip the latest archive. And here I downloaded and unzipped, and now I'm going to open CMD, and I'm going to navigate to the path where this exe file exists, and then we're going to run certain commands. Let's scroll down below in the documentation, and we need to find quick start on Windows section. And I'm going to copy the following command, and we need to modify a couple of things. I'm going to change email at thecodeholic@gmail.com. I'm going to change the file names, and I'm going to name it thecodeholic.com CSR, thecodeholic.com.key, and CRT will be thecodeholic.com CRT. And I'm going to, of course, specify domains. I'm going to generate the SSL certificates for two domains, thecodeholic.com and www.thecodeholic.com. And I'm going to provide one additional flag right here, which is in the documentation. Let's search for DNS, and it's handle as DNS. So this will give us DNS records to update. So I'm going to specify right here -- handle as DNS and hit enter. It's going to take a couple of seconds. As you can see, it generated new CSR for domains, and it also saved CSR into the codeholic.com CSR, and the key was saved in the codeholic.com.key. And right here, it mentions that the challenge for the Codeholic.com requires the following DNS records to be updated. And it basically gave us the DNS record. That's a text type DNS record, which has host and the value. Now we're going to update that in the Hostinger H panel. Let's go in the H panel. I'm going to change the type into TXT, and I'm going to provide the value as well as the host into the name. I'm going to change TTL into 1800 and hit add record. Okay, the DNS record was added, and right here it mentions that we need to wait for the DNS to update by checking with the following command, nslookup. I'm going to open new CMD terminal and paste that nslookup command and hit enter. So right here we see record, which proves that DNS, our record in DNS was successfully saved, and we can hit enter on the CSR generation screen. And here it requires to add the following DNS records for second domain, which is www.thecodeholic.com. Let's go in the DNS zone, and I'm going to change the type into TXT. I'm going to set the TTL into 60 seconds. I'm going to set the value as well as the name and hit add record. That was successfully added. However, when I run nslookup into a new command prompt for www.thecodeholic.com, it tells me that it didn't find that particular TXT type DNS records on that domain. I ran nslookup a couple of times, but it was always giving me the same output. So finally, I decided to hit enter on certificate generation screen, and it worked. So certificates for both thecodeholic.com and www.thecodeholic.com were successfully generated, and now we can delete those TXT records added in our DNS, and Let's Encrypt tells us to enjoy our certificates. Now let's open the folder in which the exe file locates, and right here we see 4 new files created, but we are interested in CRT and key files. Let's go in the import SSL section on Hostinger, and right here we have 2 required text areas for CRT and key. So let's open newly generated CRT file using any editor you want. I'm going to open with VSCode, and I'm going to copy everything and paste into Hostinger CRT section. Next, I'm going to open key file. I'm going to copy again everything and put in the key text area. And down below, I'm going to click Install SSL section. SSL is successfully installed, and we can already check that on website. Also, Hostinger automatically forced SSL on my domain. So whenever you access with HTTP, you're going to be redirected to HTTPS. So I click on the codeholic.com with SSL, and it simply works like a charm. According to the output when we generated our certificates, we can now delete DNS records. So let's go in the DNS zone and delete both the TXT records we just added. Now, if we go in the certificate section, we see that the certificate for domain thecodeholic.com is active. The certificate expire date basically is 90 days from now on, and we just need to set a reminder that we don't forget that in 90 days we have to regenerate those certificates. Let's go on a GitHub package, which turns out to be a very cool package, and I'm going to hit the star button right here to support this package. Now let's go in the H panel, and I'm going to open File Manager for thecodeholic.com. And I'm going to open and edit .en file. Whenever we created that and we configured, in the app URL, we wrote there http thecodeholic.com. But now we have SSL installed. So right here on line 5, we're going to change HTTP into HTTPS, and I'm going to save this. Now, just to make sure that everything works fine, let's test the contact form. Let's fill up with name, with email, some test message, and I'm going to hit send message button. And let me check my Gmail mailbox. And right here, I have mail received, contact mail from thecodeholic.com. Alright guys, that's it for this video, and thanks for watching. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing and enable notifications. If you have any questions regarding the video or regarding anything about me, you can let me know in the comment section down below. Also, please let me know in the comments if you really like the video, because positive comments also help my videos to be promoted by YouTube's algorithm. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you in the next time.